Shoot. I posted a reel. What's up, everybody? I posted a reel to the wrong profile. Dang it, dude. Dang it. Today I want to talk about something. I got inspired yesterday because I posted a TikTok. I posted a TikTok yesterday and it inspired a reel. Or no. It didn't inspire a reel. It inspired the topic for this live because, I think that there's this weird thing going on in the world of chronic illness about what is acceptable for people with POTS and what's not acceptable for people with POTS, and if something's dangerous or if something's not dangerous, all these different things. And I think people are looking at this so freaking narrow-minded that, hold on guys, I have to fix this. Dang it. I can't believe I did that. That was crazy. That was absolutely, I cannot believe that I posted a reel to the wrong page. I haven't done that in centuries, I feel like. Okay, boom. Sorry, I'm just fixing this. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah. Moneybag Yo just came out with a new song, it seems like, and it's very good. Boom. Boom. Give me a W if you are in the chat. Give me a W if you are currently viewing and watching this. It's a new era. It's a new time of streaming. It's a new streaming schedule. Give me a W if you are in here. W in the chat if you are here with us. You're here with me. All right. Cool. There we go. Posted the reel and we're done. I try to post a reel a day for my podcast channel on the podcast Instagram, obviously, to help promote it. So yeah, the Counter Culture Pod on Instagram. If you are so interested in personal development, motivation, learning about business and stuff, because I talk to a lot of different people and guests, and lately we've been sending a lot of internal podcasts. So if you're interested in that, Alex, what's up, dude? W in the chat. Lately we've been doing a lot of that. So anyway, the topic for today is live. Came to me because I was on TikTok. I finally posted another TikTok for POTS and the POTS program. POTS Fit is what it's called. I think that's what the TikTok channel is called. The TikTok profile is called POTS Fit. I'm pretty sure it is. If it's not, for sure the Instagram is called that. I'll check once this reel is finished uploading to Instagram. For some reason, it's taking forever. But basically, the reel in question that I drew inspiration from for this talk, or the TikTok, I don't know. What do you call, you just call them TikToks, right? They're not reels. Reels is just an Instagram thing. I try not to mess with TikTok at all. I think it's just corny, right? So anyway, the TikTok video, let's call it that. The TikTok video in question was talking about basically being gaslit by people who aren't sick and saying like, you just need to push further, you need to push harder. And so I actually commented on it, and I'm going to read my comment to you guys. I'm actually going to watch the video live so I can give you my truest, realest reaction. Because to me, this is super weak sauce. Super weak sauce. All right, that video is uploaded. The Instagram reel has been uploaded. So a couple things, right? Let's see if I can even remember how to navigate this. Okay. Wait, it was on Instagram. My bad. So it was a reel. Let me go to my POTS Fit. My POTS Fit reel. or page rather. Yeah, Pots Fit. POTSFITT is the Pots Instagram. So if you guys want to go follow that, check that out. And the reel in question was this. It says, a healthy person telling a chronically ill person to just push on is like a millionaire telling someone who is poor to just buy a yacht. Okay, so let me give you my first knee-jerk reaction. It's nothing like a millionaire telling you to just buy a yacht. It's simply not. Because what it would be akin to is a millionaire telling you to work harder to get the yacht that they have, right? A healthy person telling a chronically ill person to just push on is like a millionaire telling a poor person to work harder, push harder, and then you can have this yacht. So I don't take it the way that this girl takes it. And this is one of the things that I really dislike about the POTS community and POTS creators in general, is that they are just so negative and they take anything, they twist anything in order to turn it into an emotional or an emotionally driven argument. So one of my reel from yesterday, my description is so much of what you read about POTS is doomsday. So many of the creators make content around symptoms and how bad the condition is, and how bad the condition is because they are trying to evoke emotion out of you that will get attention. Unfortunately, pain and negativity will always take people further in attention grabbing than positivity. However, I know that you can heal. I have helped countless others heal with POTS, and I know you can. I know you can do. I said you can too. You just need strategy, structure, consistency, and most importantly, a community that can relate to you and help support you on your journey to a better life. And then I obviously plug the community. I'm a business owner at the end of the day, and I want to help people, so I'm going to help people through the community. But basically, let's stick to what that reel is, right? Let's stick to the reel. I commented, this is like the first time that I ever commented, and basically the only reason why I commented, I'm going to be totally upfront and real with you guys. I commented because I want to draw people to the page, and that's kind of the strategy that you do, right? You want to draw people to your page, comment on other people's stuff, and then you bring it in. It's just, it is what it is, right? So I commented, in the right context though, this could be what someone needs. I work with many people that have POTS who just simply don't know where they really can go. Sometimes it takes trying to push through to realize you can do it and empower yourself. This of course needs to be done in a slow, progressive, and safe manner. And then the creator commented back, POTS Fit, completely dependent on the individual. Some people physically do not have the luxury of pushing through, no matter how slow and safe it is. People with ME, CFS, and long COVID can get significantly worse if they do this. But yes, dependent on circumstances for the individual. This is such a lack of empowering. Like, this girl is pretty functional. There's such a lack of empowerment here in what she said. And she's coming from a place where she has 88.4K followers. 88.4K followers. And so obviously she's trying to garner. We're all trying to garner attention. All of us creators, that's part of the point, is that we want to garner attention because attention allows us to help people. Unfortunately, I don't think that most people with POTS and chronic illness are actually trying to help people. They just want the attention, because attention can, and not because they want attention because they're narcissists or like they're attention whores or whatever. Narcissism is the most overly used term on earth, by the way. But not just because of that, but because with that, like, look, she might really, truly, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. She may truly suffer from POTS. So what's a good way for her to make an income from home? Make content around it. And then she gets brand deals, or she gets, companies to sponsor her, and based off of sales from codes and stuff. You guys, I'm so deep. I know so many people with hundreds of thousands of followers, with even 1 million followers damn near. I've had these conversations with the influencers that you guys all probably look to on the internet. I've actually gotten the luxury of talking to quite a few of these influencers. And trust me, dude, trust me, this is done by design. They don't just do it to be relatable. They do it to evoke emotions, because that is sales 101. If any of you have ever read a sales book, the first thing that they tell you to do, don't sell the product, sell an emotion. That's every single time what they tell you to do. And it's just so funny to me that people can, and I'm not saying that, again, she's probably doing, she's selling an emotion of fear, probably because she does live in fear. I'm not saying that it's anything with malintent or anything of that nature. She might actually live in fear. That's the emotion that she can invoke from people because that's actually what she goes through. So more people that go through what she goes through pay attention to her. And then it just becomes a cycle of like negativity, emotion, bad emotions. We're talking about bad, non-positive things. We're talking about negative things. And the cycle just continues. I'm not saying that it's with malintent, but this is a great way for her to make money if she really is struggling poorly with POTS, which I'm going to call a spade a spade. It doesn't seem like she really is. And so, man, where was I going with that, dude? Okay, I was going with the thing that I think is so disempowering about this is the fact that pushing harder doesn't always mean get your ass in the gym. Who's going to carry the boats? Make sure you have a 315 deadlift. That's just not what pushing harder always means. Sometimes pushing harder means, hey, instead of laying out of bed or instead of laying in bed all day, why don't you get up and do 100 steps around the house? No one has ever in the history of everdom with chronic illness gotten worse because they got 100 steps around the house compared to the 0 that they have gotten in life. It just hasn't happened. I have not run across one person like this. I will assure you that this girl doesn't coach people with POTS. I do. I've talked to many people with POTS, and I've helped many people with POTS get to remission or get better. And it just has never happened. I've never talked to somebody that has ever said they have ME, CFS. Sorry, guys. Yelling really screwed up my throat for a second. I've never in my life talked to somebody that has all of these things that she's talking about and walking 100 to 1,000 steps and progressing in that way in a safe, progressive, slow manner. Never, ever have I heard somebody get worse. This is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous comment to make. And that is the evocation of fear. Whatever. That is evoking fear. That is, dude. Like, and taking the power away from the person. So we're going to give the chronic illness more control over us than we have over us. There's little things that you can do, bro. There just is. We can't argue that. The main prescription for POTS is work out. Work out. That's the main prescription. Aside from hydration and salt and sodium. It's the main prescription. And you'll never know where your limits are if you don't get close to your limits. It's impossible. And most times I tell people, we're not going to work out super hard. When I have my one-on-one coaching, clients, I have quite a few of them. I'm open for business if anybody needs a one-on-one coach for POTS. But every single time we start out slow. They get better. Their symptoms are getting better. Maybe they were passing out before, now they're not passing out as frequently. Maybe they're passing out less frequently and now they're not passing out at all. Maybe they got fatigued from walking around even 1,000 steps and now they're not fatigued from walking 1,000 steps and now they're walking 2,000 steps. Slow and progressive manners, dude. Slow and progressive manners. We do not give our chronic illness, we do not give it power over our mind. That is where so many of these people go wrong. And then I guarantee you, all of her people that watch her or consume her content are doing nothing but this. WebMD, Google, what's happening? I can't exercise. This one girl online says that I can't do that. This one girl says that I'm going to get worse. So no, I can't do it. But they can sit in bed all day and ruminate over the bad things that are happening to them. Like, why don't we empower people to try? Why? You're just promoting this idea that if you're chronically ill forever. Chronic illness is it's so misunderstood. We don't know that much about POTS syndrome. Straight, plain and simple. We don't know that much about CFS and stuff, dude. It's just not It's not true. Like a lot of this stuff is not true. I have seen not just with me, but with other people and other practitioners, like actual like naturopaths, NDs, PAs, stuff like that. I've seen them help people with chronic illness get better. We just don't know all the facts. And this is so doomsday. And this is just acting as if there's no solutions. How is there, like, dude, come on. Panther Flow, totally agree with your analogy. Just work harder. At the same time, it's logical for people to say this when they have no concept of what POTS actually feels like. Let me read that again. At the same time, it's logical for people to say this when they have no concept of what POTS actually. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So like you can't blame the person who doesn't know what you're feeling. That's the other thing, right? Is that it's such that every single, like, not the people that watch my content, I'd like to think, and the people that are part of my training group and the people that I coach, I like to think that most of you guys kind of have your head on straight in the sense that like you want hope. You see that things can get better. You want to get better. You're actively trying, to get better. But it's such the fact that all of these POTS people just like group themselves into this victim mentality, right? Like, ooh, they said to me, this is hurtful and this is harmful that they said this to me. Dude, they have no idea. They don't know. People are always just trying their best. And it's like you're assuming that this person knows how bad your chronic illness is and that they're saying something to cause you harm. And if it causes you harm, that they said something with no information that they don't know anything about, dude, that's a you problem. That has nothing to do with the person who told you anything. They're just saying what they think might help you feel better. That's all. It's just a you problem. Soft. It's so annoying, honestly. In life in general, everyone just wants to take easy street or woe is me. Now, there are days that, yes, I do feel woe is me. However, 95% of the time, I don't have the time to sit around and feel that way. What I can say, though, is days that I drink water, drink my electrolytes, and get exercise, I feel better. Yeah, dude, 100%. Like, look, we are all victims to the human condition, right? And what I mean by that is that we're all going to have these feelings sometimes. Like, there's been so many times in the past 2 years for me that I've felt a victim to my circumstances, but it takes that mind shift. You have to learn how to shift your mind into like, this sucks that this happened to me, but screw it, dude. I'm going to do whatever it takes, whatever possible to figure it out. I'm sorry I keep licking my lip. It probably looks weird, but I have like this weird thing that I'm starting. It's like pimple or something. Feels weird, little bump. We're all subject to the human condition, and we can't do anything about that. We just can't. And so we're all gonna have these feelings of woe is me sometimes. But the difference is like sitting and dealing with the emotion or feeling the emotion, or sitting in your crap forever. Like, just deal with the emotion and move on. There's so many of these POTS creators that I follow to be honest with you, to rip their content and turn it into positive content, because they're just all such doomsday. Like, there's this girl right here that I'm looking at. Her name, it's what are my biggest symptoms? Okay. When it comes to chronic illness, what my biggest symptoms are right now, I consider my biggest symptom to be the ones that we are not really able to manage. They just feel really out of control. They're incredibly debilitating. We haven't had any luck in figuring out how to treat them and make bearable, blah, 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 blah. Okay, she's probably going to go into what her biggest symptoms are. I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth with this girl, okay? And this seems to be a lot of these creators. She's obese. Like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to pretend with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, no offense. I'm not trying to fat shame. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. But girl, 75% of this girl's issues, I guarantee you, would get better if she would just get on a recumbent bike and follow a diet and lose weight. Period. Point blank. We have so much data to support that. We have so much data to support that in general, calorie deficits, right? Mind you, losing weight, just like being almost in a somewhat deficit chronically has so many good health implications on your health. So many good health implications. Has so many good implications on your health, being in a slight caloric deficit for an extended period of time. Now, it's not to say that somebody who needs to be eating 2,000 calories to sustain weight, mitochondrial function, all these different things, that they should be eating a 1,200 calorie deficit or a 1,200 calorie diet, because that's a major deficit. That's not a slight one. But this girl could see a bunch of improvements just simply from losing probably 50 to 70 pounds. I know it seems like a lot, but she's highly overweight. She's highly overweight. She's anxious. She's all these things. It's like she's the same one that I've talked to you guys in other ones, in other live streams where I'm like, this girl literally posted when you know what your trigger foods are, but they're like too good to give up. And then she shows herself eating. Like, bro, shut up. Your issue is I'm trying to be so kind right now. I'm trying, but I really don't have time for this BS, right? I'm trying to be so kind. But this girl is over freaking weight, dude. Like, and you're admitting to eating crappy food for you, highly processed, over palatable food, and your issue is it's the doctors and it's everything else, and you can't control. Dude, you can control what you put in your face. You just can. No matter how chronically sick you are, no matter how chronically ill. What I would actually argue is that chronic illness, it's harder to eat food than it is to eliminate food. It's harder to eat food. I have somebody who I just did a live about this a day or two ago. I might have deleted it, but I have somebody who her issue, she was passing out, low blood pressure, all this stuff. We fixed her morning episodes by having 16 to 32 ounces of water sitting next to her bed with a packet of Element in it and taking that down right away, laying in bed for 5 minutes, then getting up. No dizziness, no passing out. Then on one day, she has an episode around noon, passes out. And I take a look at her diet because she did what she was supposed to do. She was supposed to track everything. And she had like 300 calories from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. And she's a very small girl. I'm like, hey, whoa, this is probably the issue. You're eating way too little calories in general. I look at the rest of her day. It's probably about 1,000 calories that she was eating per day. So a lot of these issues that people are having can come down to so many different factors that are within your control. You just aren't willing to do the work to pay attention. Period. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be the dude to feed into your fears and to feed into your bullshit, to be totally real. I'm going to have that real conversation. I'm going to empower people. Hey, this is your fault. Figure it out. This is your fault. Figure it out. And if it's not your fault, act like it is. When you start taking the onus and the responsibility over whatever is going on in your life, you no longer give anything else validation. You don't give anything else power. That's the strongest position to be in. The strongest position to be in, because now it's up to you to figure out what to do to make your life better if that's really what you want. Happy T, swimming is my exercise of choice since you're not in a postural position. I do have to be careful not to exert myself too much because of 2 heart conditions. Nice. At least you're doing something. Panther Flow, I strongly prefer a more empowering message, and despite a lifetime of dysautonomia and epilepsy, I don't feel much comfort from most POTS content. Yeah, because they don't, I mean, I think what people say that they want and what they really want can be totally misconstrued, right? And especially with the POTS community, because so many people are filled with anxiety and filled with woe is me and filled with like victim mindset. They think that they want people that they can relate to. But the problem is that the people that you can relate to in the POTS community, dude, they don't have it together at all. And what happens is you start to hear the symptoms that they have. They go to all these appointments for all these different things and whatnot, whatever, right? And then you're like, oh, That's relatable. I have that symptom. I have that symptom. And then all you guys do is you sit in your echo chamber of negativity, this symptom, that symptom, without ever actually taking motion. And people consider taking motion going to the doctor and figuring out this new symptom that they have. And they didn't get any, like that's somehow being productive. It's not. You can do things that seem productive that actually just add to your BS, that actually don't do anything for you. And then you're like, oh, I don't feel productive, because you're not taking any actual steps forward. Everyone knows what to do. You know what to do. I say this all the time. You can get all of the stuff from my channel. Everything. What blood tests you should probably ask for, what supplements I take that may actually help you out, what type of things you should do for your diet, what kind of exercise, steps, hydration, how to travel, everything. You can take it all from my channel for free. Everyone knows what to do. There's zero excuses anymore. The thing is that most people with POTS need somebody there to hold their hand. And that's not a bad thing, dude. I have a coach myself. I pay $300 a month. I have a coach myself for CrossFit, right? And I used to pay for a nutritionist too. So check this out. I was paying like $500 a month just for my goals. But so many people aren't willing to make the investment. And if they're not willing to make, dude, this is not like a coaching pitch. If you're not willing to make the investment to have somebody tell you what to do and to hold your hand, you better be freaking willing to do all the things necessary to get better, or you really don't want it that bad, or it really doesn't suck that much. I always say this. I've said it in a million streams before. If you're not doing everything possible to get closer to your goals, if you're not, and what I mean by that is not, you don't have to go kill it in the gym, but if you're somebody who's very low functioning, if you're not doing your best to get some steps in, even from your refrigerator to your bed, to your refrigerator, to the living room, boom, boom, boom. If you're not doing all that, then your condition really must not suck that bad that you want to fix it. And what I've noticed with a lot of people with POTS is like, they almost like are like, yes, finally, I have a reason that I don't need to go do stuff. Yes, I've been a victim my whole life with everything, trauma, school, this person sucks, that person sucks. I finally have an out. I finally have a reason. And dude, that's just not how you're supposed to, in my opinion, that's not how I want to live my life, right? And that's just facts, dude. A lot of people want the easy way out. A lot of people want the freaking easy way out, but be honest about it, bro. Don't go online and start spreading all this like negative stuff, because not everyone is like you. And especially if you get popular and you start spreading that stuff, and it's other people out there that actually do have hope, and the only content creators they see are these hyper negative or hyper focused, hyper fixated on symptoms and how bad their conditions are, then that's all they're ever going to see. It's just creating echo chambers for no reason. I'll admit it. I want to create an echo chamber. Absolutely, I do. I want to create an echo chamber of people that are positive mindset and that are willing to do the work. Bro, there's people that I work with that are bedridden, that I have worked with that have been bedridden or couldn't even shower standing up and got back to normal life. Part of it is mindset, dude. Empowering people is part of the freaking process, a part of the journey. I absolutely want to make an echo chamber. I want to have people that come from the negative side of things and they want to be positive. What helped me most is to finally acknowledge and recalibrate what start slow and go slow means compared to a person with a fully functional nervous system. Yes. Yeah, dude, that's facts too. That's absolutely facts. We get so many people get so caught up in, like, even probably with my content, right? You see my content and you probably think that when I'm telling you go slow, my headphones weren't even plugged in. When I tell you go slow or take it easy, things of that nature, just from first glance or from first impression, you might be thinking, he's telling me to go slow, so I guess I need to learn muscle up progressions because he's doing full on muscle up. So maybe I have to learn, how to do some Metcons or whatever, and that's what his go slow means. No, dude, my go slow literally means if you need to get one of those pedal things that goes under a desk, do that first. If you need to start with a step count where it's like you're just walking from your bed to the refrigerator a few times a day, that starts slow. But it's this mentality that you can't ever do these things. That's crazy, right? It's crazy to me. It's nuts. It's absurd if you ask me. So yeah, guys, that girl really took me for a ride, dude. I'll tell you guys about one more reel that I saw this week that really threw me for a loop, dude. Really threw me for a loop. And it was this creator who was talking about she was talking about how, hold on one second. No way. No way, that's crazy. The creator was talking about how she had like hearing loss or something. Like she I don't know, dude. She had hearing loss. Let's just say that she wasn't hearing things, and then she got the recommendation, or the, what is it called? She got the recommendation to go to the audiologist, basically. And she got an appointment with the audiologist. And then she goes to the audiologist and he's like, yeah, your test came back perfect, actually. Perfect. And then she's like, well, how can that be? Because I've been going like, what, a lot to people, and and blah, blah, blah. And then the audiologist tells her, I see this so many times with people who are chronically ill. It's just that your nervous system is like doing so much to be able to stand up straight, or to, do normal daily tasks and all this, whatever, right? It's like, dude, come on. Like, when will you, like, how many tests need to happen? How many places do you need to go? How many doctors do you need to see before you realize and understand that it is a you problem? Start doing the things that will make you better. That's not to say that there aren't people with actual heart issues, or, that deal with POTS too, or there aren't people with actual neurological issues that deal with POTS too, but that's usually a side effect of the actual condition that they have, and the condition was noticed before POTS was. It almost never happens the other way around. Trust me, I've worked with too many people at this point. To pretend the other way around. And these people with POTS, every single time, doctors, you're good, you're okay. All the tests came back normal, you have POTS. All the tests came back normal, you have POTS. But it's like, how many times can you go see a new specialist? How many times can you get a referral? That's the word that I was looking for. For somebody else, go to the appointment, waste your time, and not do anything about it that's in your control. The girl's fat. The girl's chubby. The other thing, you have ADHD, you have OCD, you have all these things, blah, 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 blah. Go to therapy, dude. What's probably happening, I would be willing to bet a good amount of my money on it, that what's happening is you have all these issues and you can't think about anything else. Your mind is distracted. It's not that you literally can't hear with your ears, because you obviously have the ability to hear. It's that you're not paying attention. Like when people are talking to you, you're fogged out. You're in a haze all day. I guarantee, I'd be willing to put a significant amount of money on it that's the issue. It's not that you can't hear. You can obviously hear. So when he says your nervous system is, dude, if you've been to a million specialists over so many different things, there's probably going to be no difference with the thing that you think is the thing, right? So she's been to all these specialists. He talks about it all the time. All these specialists for her heart, EKG, all this stuff. It all comes out normal. And then she has an audiology appointment too. What makes you think it's going to be any different? What makes you think that appointment is going to be the thing that's like, yes, I finally got it? Dude, just do the things that you know you're supposed to do. It's that easy. If you haven't been diagnosed with any other condition, especially prior to POTS, right? Just do the things you're supposed to do. And I'm willing to go out on a whim and say this. A lot of people who get diagnosed with CFS after getting POTS, dude, you're so deconditioned because you stopped doing stuff. You completely stopped doing stuff. And not because of the inability to do stuff. More times than not, I'd say 95% of people that I've worked with, and when I get history on PAR-Q, all this stuff, dude, it's not that they can't actually do stuff. It's the anxiety of what if this happens, so they prevent themselves from doing stuff, that's normally the situation. On average, that's the situation at hand. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. And then they get diagnosed with things like chronic fatigue. And then they do become super deconditioned that they really can't handle much activity. But that's not exclusive to POTS either. If you're a healthy, normal person, you get fat, you get, you lose too much weight, and you stop working out, and you get super deconditioned. Any form of activity is going to feel like crap. Any form. And especially with somebody with POTS. If you don't try to sustain some sort of activity after getting the diagnosis or having all these symptoms and stuff, and a lot of times it's scary. I understand that. I'll give that to you. But yeah, you're going to get deconditioned. You're going to not be able to do things. Yeah, it's the cycle. That's how it goes. It's just, yeah, dude. I don't know. Happy T, going to the gym now. I was planning to skip today, but you inspired me. Thanks, dude. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. That's what I like to hear. Let's go. Have a good workout, and make sure that you do what you can and not too much. Good for you. These POTS creators, dude. Crazy. Crazy. It's always like some really whack stuff too that people like to say about these POTS creators and like stick up for them and whatever. And it's like, dude, nobody even needs to stick out or stick up for me. Like, I like, why do you feel like it's so funny because it's like people feel the need to protect other people that confirm their biases. Alex, that's how it is with non-POTS people too. My friends who take month-long breaks from the gym go back and feel like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, this stuff is just so... It's so, like... How do you say it? Like, what's the word? It's so trivial and so almost so obvious that these things are just what happened to people. It's sometimes to me, it's like, it's kind of laughable, you know? Cause I'm just like, how do you not remember this? How do you not remember that? Like, genuinely, there's times where like sometimes a client of mine with POTS will like have a really tough workout and then they're out of, what's it called? They're like out of breath and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah, that's exercise. That's what working out is. Like you get out of breath. Even people without POTS, they get like air hunger or whatever they call it, right? Like, and all these terms are like really new within the past few years, guys. Sugimoto, what's up? I just found a great POTS channel and she has a bunch of great recumbent exercises that you can follow along with. Nice. That's cool. Sugimoto, just got done doing a workout, actually sweating and couldn't really do some of the exercises. That's a good sign to me. It means there's room for improvements. Heck yeah. There we go. That's good. Alex, you have to make a conscious decision to be around people who will build you up and push you out of your comfort zone, not people who will be okay with you being complacent. Absolutely, dude. I just, on my most recent podcast that I filmed for my other channel, we kind of talked about this, but in a separate way, right? There's this idea that I've messed with a lot in my head and I've talked to a lot of people about, and that is, your life, like, let's talk about your life's purpose or your life's path, right? So your life's purpose, it's funny, it's crazy because, I try to speak specifically to men about this, right? But let me gather my thoughts. So many people will compromise their life path and purpose for the sake of relationships, right? At the expense of themselves. And so what you're saying is you need to make a conscious decision to be around people who build you up and push you out of your comfort zone. Absolutely. And so what I'm trying to say is, speaking on life purpose and life path, right? So many people will allow themselves to compromise things of their life purpose and their path and their work for the sake of relationships with other people, i.e., a girlfriend gets mad that you have to finish a project, or a girlfriend gets mad that you started a business and that you have to be at your business and you have to do, so many, like you have to work late, and, then she gets too mad and then she makes you feel bad for following your life's purpose. But this is really what fills your cup. This is what, gives you joy and stuff like that. And yeah, if that, and so many people will be like, this is the hottest girl I've ever had, so I can't F this up. I cannot mess this up. Okay, I'm going to stop working as late. So suddenly your fire goes away, right? But then what happens there, right? What happens is that person, and this goes for guys and girls. Guys don't really care that much about girls doing this. But what happens there is, but guys to guys this happens, and guys to girl this happens. What happens there is when you start compromising your mission, your purpose, all this stuff for someone else, for a bunch of other people, they start to realize that you're super malleable. They don't trust you as much. They don't put their faith in you as much. And then you get upset because people are treating you different, and you've become this yes man, and you lose confidence in yourself, right? And these people know that they can call you at any time, because no matter what, to do whatever, because no matter what, you're going to compromise, and you're going to stop on your mission, and you're going to stop doing the things that you need to do, right? And earn progress. Strong women will get turned off when you start compromising your goals. 1,000%. I'm trying to make this about everybody, not just women, but 1,000%. So then your friends who you've compromised so many times for, right? They start to be like, man, this guy's got nothing going on. I know that I can always call him to go out drinking with me, because he's not gonna, whatever he's got going on, he's gonna drop it for me. Then you lose yourself. You lose integrity in yourself. You lose the, what's it called? You lose the faith in yourself that you're willing to do whatever it takes, because you have started compromising, right? And so the same thing here with pots. You need to make a conscious effort to be around people who won't make you compromise, i.e., your mindset, who won't make you compromise. So you want to be a positive person, you need to be around people that will have the positive mindset with you, or that if you're trying to be positive in a negative situation, they're only going to bring you up. They're only going to build you up. They're just going to help you be positive. There's other people that want you to sulk in their shit with them. So they try to make you compromise. They try to make you be somebody who can be negative with them. They're making you compromise. You guys see what I'm saying? And so Sugimoto says, LOL, I appreciate the likening of Potts to being in an abusive relationship. My bad Potts girlfriend really whooped my ass this weekend. No, check this out. I don't think that there's anything abusive about that whatsoever. I don't think that people making you compromise on your goals, I don't think, first off, I'm going to kind of flip the way that I said that. I don't think that's abusive. I think that every person that you're in a relationship with is going to test how bad you really want something. And whether it's intentional or not, they're going to test it, right? They're going to say, come on, just come have one drink with us. And that's because they genuinely want you to do that. There's nothing that they have done that's wrong. You have done the thing that's wrong by compromising your goals. And if those people make you feel bad for compromising your goals, number one, you need to think about, what is it about you that lets them, that is feeling bad about it, right? What is it about you? Number two, those probably aren't the people that you should be hanging out with if they're really like giving you a hard time for it. There's a difference between giving you a hard time for it and just giving you crap, as your friends or whatever. And they'll be like, okay, we'll catch you next time, that type of thing. Or if they really do try to, like, you're so focused on this. Why are you doing but there's nothing abusive or toxic about that. It really comes down to you. It really comes down to you. I want to empower people to, no matter what, take initiative and take the blame for every relationship and situation that you are in. Me, I was in a gym situation. I lost both my business partners. The gym ended up, I exited the gym. It was on my terms, all that stuff. But I lost both those business partners. I'm not a victim, bro. That was my fault. That was my bad. I was best friends with one of the guys. I knew he was too pussy to run a gym. I knew he was too pussy to do business for real. He showed me signs of leaving when we had meetings and all this stuff. And I am the one who decided to go into business with him. I've known him for 14 years. I decided to take this guy on who I knew wouldn't have the balls to do business with me. I chose that. The next guy, I barely kind of knew him. I just saw that he maybe looked like a hard worker, and they say don't get into business with your friends. And if he seems like a hard worker, okay, cool. I'm down. Let's go. Let's run it. I did that. I wasn't a victim to anyone. He's not very good at business and all this stuff, but he didn't do nothing to me. I did it to me. Now, some of the stuff that they did was foul. The way that my best friend, business partner left was foul. But I'm the one who made the decision in the first place to go into business with you. It's my fault. It's no one else's fault. So a lot of the things, like, right, when we have to start, and I'll bring it back to POTS. We have to start taking the blame and onus on things that happen in our life, right? When you're negative with POTS, it's your fault. When you have POTS and you have CFS and all this stuff and you haven't been moving and whatever, it's your fault. You should be at least trying to get some steps in. That's your fault. Now, the fact there are crappy things that can happen to you in life, but what you do about it is totally up to you. How you react is completely up to you. I'm not saying that it doesn't suck. I'm not saying that you can't get depressed. I'm not saying that all these other emotions can be evoked with it and blah, 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 blah. But take the responsibility for your actions and do something about it. Deconditioning sucks, but only gets worse unless we find a good way to do something. Good news, even one wall push-up is a training stimulus when you're so deconditioned. That's absolutely true. Look at that. Wow. That's true. It's facts. I got a call from a friend this AM that started to go off and be all negative about their situation first thing in the AM. I waited and noticed it was affecting me, so I just said, look, from there, it's their choice to step up or step out. Not my life. I got my own. No one's going to come do it for me, but I will succeed. Yeah, dude. And I'm going to tell you guys the honest to God truth. The past 3 years, I've cut out so many people from my life, so many friends from my life, because I've just noticed that, you know, some like people that I love and people that I genuinely have a connection with. But it's because, like, when you talk to some of these people, all they want to do is complain. And now I'm forced to see some of them, right? And kind of forced to see some of them. And when I do see them and they start on that train, I'm just like, dude, shut up. Like, just shut up. And I laugh at them and I like brush it off, and I probably seem cold. I probably seem a certain way, but look, I ain't got time for it, dude. I don't have time for it. Straight up. I don't have time for your negative bullcrap, dude. I just don't. I'm on a different timing right now. I'm on a different timing. If it's not adding value to my life, I don't need it. And that's not to say that I don't feel bad for you or that I don't love you or whatever, but I understand, right, that you need to take responsibility. If you are in a toxic cycle with people or whatever, dude, get out. So many people are controlled so much by their emotions that they can't use logic. It's like, my boyfriend is like, I'll use a somewhat real example. This guy that I'm talking to is so toxic. He's been leading me on for years, all this stuff. It's like, what am I supposed to feel sorry for you, bro? It's been 4 years of the same stuff on and off. What am I supposed to, like, how many like, what should I say to you? I don't even feel bad for you anymore, dude. I don't even feel bad for you. I feel bad in the sense that you're so stuck in this cycle in your head that you can't make anything positive. You can't make room for any positivity, growth, love, all that stuff. And that's like, that's what I feel bad for you for. But your situation that you should have ended years ago, bro, no, absolutely not. And the fact that you want to keep coming and complaining about the same crap day after day after day, leave it to somebody else, bro. Leave it to somebody else. What I will be here for you for, and I have my arms wide open for, is when you decide to make the leap towards a different mindset and a different life. I'm going to have my arms open for you. I'm going to hug you. I'm going to give you a little kiss on the, I'm not going to kiss you at all, actually, but I'm going to give you a hug, and I'm going to say, I'm so happy that you're finally here. So happy. Now, what can I do to help serve? This is so true. I've allowed myself to become reconditioned, and to become deconditioned, I'm guessing is what you're saying. And I let myself get scared because I don't trust my body to not go into attack mode, but I have to own the fact that the stress in my life and emotions drove the train for years. Yeah, absolutely. I've allowed myself to become deconditioned. I let myself get scared. I don't trust my body to not go into attack mode. Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say there is just like start super slow. Start slower than you think you need to start, and just prove to yourself. Like, dude, confidence is built from repetition over time, proving to yourself that you are able to be capable, that you are capable. That's what confidence is built off of. Some people think that like I can just be confident just because, like, I just need to start and you can go balls to the wall. But no, confidence is like with little things. Like the past 2 years, dude, I'm not gonna even lie to you guys. Like I lost a bit of self-confidence. And so what I've done, especially like I've had some insecurities creep up, right? So what I've been doing is like I take little wins every single day. I hopped on Duolingo. I'm trying to relearn Spanish. It was my first language. My whole family's Hispanic. All they do is speak Spanish at, family functions, family events and stuff like that. So I picked up Duolingo, and every single day I get a win. I'm building confidence back up. I like almost feel back to this confident asshole that I used to be a couple years ago, and it's because I'm proving to myself that I know how to stick to things, that I can start small and I can grow big. I know that. I've done it a million times in my life. Sugimoto, I liked your previous live or two ago where you mentioned intermittent exercise. I'm beginning to appreciate breaking things up throughout the day. So it's back to square one, but we'll get there. Yeah, absolutely. Build confidence, dude. So FJ, look at Sugimoto's chat. That's a great way to do it. You just prove to yourself over time that you can do it, no matter how you have to do it. I talked about intermittent exercise in the sense that we need to stop looking at exercise as we need to stop looking at exercise so narrow-mindedly in the sense that like exercise or a workout needs to be done in 1 hour or 2 hour session. It can be done throughout the day. And actually, there's some data to suggest that may be better for muscle growth. What do you recommend as far as letting go of the victim mentality, but also trying to trust your body as you push back with exercise? I recommend highly what I was just talking about before. Getting small wins, proving to yourself that you are capable. So making sure that you're going slow in the beginning, start slower than you think you might have to start, and then progress over time. Prove to yourself, I can walk 2,000 steps a day. Nice, I did it for a week. I can walk 3,000 steps a day. Nice, I did it for a week. You have to build confidence. And confidence doesn't happen by just talking yourself into it. It comes from talking yourself into doing little habits over time, proving to yourself over time. Like even something like this, right? I don't need to eat sugar anymore. Okay, I'm not going to stop eating this cookie that I have every single day, but I'm only going to eat 3/4 of it for 3 days. The next, I'm going to eat 1/2 of it for 3 days. The next, I'm going to eat 1/4 of it. Boom. And now it's gone. I've proven to myself over time that I can eliminate this thing. Now I'm just going to get rid of it like completely. You get that? Earn progress. LMAO kiss. Yeah, I ain't kissing nobody. Nobody besides my girlfriend and my children. When I was at my best, people called me an asshole. It was their own issue that couldn't relate to my drive and persistence in life. Let them talk and just walk. Yeah, dude, I think so often, something that I've noticed is that in the past 2 years, I've gone through a lot of stuff, right? I have not pot stuff, business stuff, friends stuff, all these things, right? Like I've lost a business, my dog, like so many things have happened. What I have noticed is that when you start to take yourself like more serious, because I realized, dude, I need to take myself more seriously. You know what I mean? Like that's not to say that I can't bullshit with the boys or whatever, but I need to start taking myself more seriously. And when you do that, when you hold yourself a certain way, when you hold your persona a certain way, you hold yourself a certain way, and you don't falter from it, and it's different from what people are used to. Maybe they used to be able to call you like lazy or whatever. This never happened to me, by the way. I've never been lazy. But maybe they used to be able to joke about you being lazy, and you're like, hey, I don't identify like that anymore. I'm doing my best to not be that person anymore. This is something that I learned from Alex Hormozy. I'm doing my best not to identify that way anymore. I'm doing my best not to be lazy. I'd appreciate it if you didn't talk to me like that. People cringe. They hate it. They want you to be the person that they've always known you to be, as if growth doesn't happen in life. That's just facts, dude. People do not like to be uncomfortable with who you are. And bro, it's like, hey man, it's okay if you still hold on to me as that person, but I'm not that person anymore. So you can either like sulk and, try to be stuck with that person that I used to be, or you can get on the train and get on the board and we can still be friends. But either way, just know that I'm going to keep going this way, and people do not like that at all. And they start saying you've changed and you turned into an asshole and blah, blah. Dude, I've had along with all the stuff that I have gone through these past couple of years, I've also really gone through some really cool stuff these past few years. My podcast has not blown up. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not making a ton of money off of it, but I've gotten to talk to really, really, really cool people that other people wish that they could speak to, that other people take pictures with and sign autographs, all this stuff. I've gotten to actually be friends with them and get to communicate with them on a regular basis and stuff. And then people start calling you things like Hollywood, and people start like, oh, too good for us and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it's like, I've never done anything to suggest any of that. I just am very busy, so I'm not as available. And I'm very conscientious about how I spend my time. And because I'm not using my time to bullshit, hang out, go drink, and do all this stuff, and I'm using it to work on my passion, my life's purpose, the thing that I want to do, now suddenly I'm different. People don't like that. People don't like to see you grow when they're not growing, period. I like that. Building confidence slowly. Great example with Duolingo. I'm used to dieting and the fast track for years. Trying to learn consistency is key. Exercise was something I hated for years because it was punishment. I like those small goals. Yeah, I think that that's something also that you have to get really pivy to, is that exercise is not punishment. And unfortunately, some of our parents used exercise as punishment. I actually know somebody, this is really unfortunate, that their grandparents would make them run the track before school because they were getting too chubby as a kid. And that really sucks. But I think we need to work through those traumas. We need to work through those issues, right? And deal with it in healthy ways and figure that life, in life, I don't know, guys, this is a concept that I've been dealing with a lot, or that I've been thinking over a lot. And by anyone's definition, I have gone through a lot of trauma in life, right? I've experienced a lot of things, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if I believe in trauma. I think that there are bad things that happen to us. Alex Hormozy said this too, and it really rung with me. And the reason why, I understand that things in your life happen and they can cause you to think certain ways or believe certain things or to do certain things, but you're still in control later on in life, right? If you realize that this thing happened to you, then you need to deal with it. So I don't know so much if you need to deal with it and move on somehow, right? See a therapist, do whatever. But I don't know how much I believe in the word trauma. Really sucks because it's associated with, this is something that you'll never get over a lot of times, right? And so I've gone through a lot of stuff in life, and I used to use that word a lot, my trauma, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm like, that's really disempowering. It's not very empowering. A lot of stuff has happened to me, but that doesn't determine my future, right? So it's I'm getting rid of that word in my vocabulary, because it's yeah, this stuff happened, but bad things happen all the time to everyone. So anyways, what you're saying is, you hated exercise. Find a modality of exercise that you enjoy. Could be walking, could be biking, could be volleyball, whatever it is, but start slow. Obviously, I would say walk first, start slow, and then move on. Any recommendations for weight gain? The initial panic adrenaline rushes really drained me. At the start of this, I stabilized for a while, but fell back off. Fell back again. Just today, weighed up. Lost 5 pounds. Yeah, I would say if you have a hard time eating food, get liquid calories. So you can't have milk. Liquid calories somehow, some sort of fresh squeezed juice. Eat high calorically dense foods. So meats that are high in fat, maybe cheeses, carbohydrates that don't bother you that much. Like mango has a lot of carbs. Bananas have a decent amount of carbs. Just eat more calories, however you can. put oil on stuff, put butter on stuff. Oil like coconut oil, not any of the seed oils, coconut oil. And I'm a big fan of Kerrygold butter. People don't like living in the tension of change. It's easier to let go of the tension than live and grow in it. But man, tension can change and stretch us. Yeah, 100%. And I think that people are really uncomfortable with tension in the sense of like they're uncomfortable with tension with the person that they know, right? So like, if my girlfriend, I'm not going to use that example because this would never happen. But if your friends like say some foul stuff to you and you don't like it, and they meant it as a joke, but you don't like it, a lot of people would rather just not address the joke, right? They'd rather just like, laugh it off and, then feel resentful after or something. And that's the tension that a lot of people avoid. And my approach to it is no, nip it in the bud. Say something about it. Hey, I didn't really like that joke. And if they get upset over that, that's them. It's not you. I didn't like that joke. Please don't talk to me like that. We're still friends. I still love you. But please just don't talk to me like that. There's nothing wrong with that. 3 meals a day seems tougher and tougher. Yeah. I would break it up into smaller portions throughout the day. Eat more frequently. 100% trauma gets overused a lot, unfortunately, and I'm trying to find other words. Totally agree. Yeah, it's not even so much that the idea of trauma is like not something that I believe in. Like I said, I think that bad things can happen to you, especially early on, that shape the rest of your life. However, I do believe at the end of the day that how you deal with that, especially as a grown adult, is completely up to you. Like there's no excuses for that, You got to recognize like bad patterns that have happened in your life and then do what it takes to fix that issue, right? So like going to therapy might be something that you need to do. Talking to your homeboys if you're a man, or like breaking stuff, you know what I mean? Like on purpose in a safe, controlled environment, whatever it is, like you gotta figure something out that works for you and deal with it. I gotta check on something real quick. Trauma is literally when you were not able to deal with an experience. Were not. But then why would people go to therapy if they cannot deal with trauma? They can. You can deal with trauma. You can. In the moment that the thing happened to you, that's different. That's what we're acknowledging, is the fact that something can happen to you and it can shape your worldview. Absolutely. But when you get older, you need to deal with that issue. You need to deal with that trauma, the thing that happened to you. That is absolutely dealable. Like you can absolutely deal with that. Yes, and when you don't know how to deal with it, a therapist teaches you. Yeah, that's what I just said. I said, so if therapy is the way that you need to deal with trauma, then that's the way that you go deal with trauma, for sure. However, it doesn't look the same for everybody. We cannot give a prescription based on that because it's not true. Some people need to go do like ketamine with guided therapy. Some people do mushrooms with guided therapy. Some people deal with trauma in the form, and they didn't even know, with Muay Thai or with weightlifting, things of that nature. But to give a prescription that everybody deals with things the same, I think is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And to be completely honest with you, therapists in general, in my view, especially for guys, right, are just not it most times. I think that therapists can do a decent job at like there's a saying about therapists, right? There's a saying about people that go into psychology in college. And it's that people go into psychology to fix their own problems. You guys ever heard that before or no? So sometimes, and it's the same, and look, I'm going to make it akin to POTS. Sometimes people are giving you prescriptions based on their own experience rather than what you need. So that's kind of what I see that can be flawed with therapy. ACT, I had a good ACT score, guys. Acceptance and commitment therapy. Yeah, it might be. I don't know. How I tend to deal with issues in life, just period, my own way, right? That really helps me out is I just take ownership over everything, right? If a girlfriend, no, I don't know why I keep defaulting to the girlfriend thing. Okay, so this is going to be an extreme example, right? But man, I don't know if somebody that I know is going to watch this, so I don't want to use this example completely. If I have a friend whose girlfriend cheats on him, right? Let's just say this. If I have a friend whose girlfriend cheats on him, I'm always like, man, yeah, that really sucks. I am sorry that happened to you. What did you do? What did you do wrong? You know, and more times than not, it's a really, really kind of hurtful question. But no progress comes without thinking and without thought experiment, right? And a lot of times I'm like, yo, look, this is going to suck. And the way I'm going to tell you to approach this really sucks. However, I think that you need to take ownership here. And they'll be like, what? But she cheated on me. She did this wrong thing to me. I'll be like, yeah, but what'd you do? What do you think you did wrong in the relationship? Did you not provide a safe space for her in terms of were you not emotionally available when she needed somebody to listen? Were you not providing financially? Were you always playing video games? Because a dude who plays video games, a lot of time girls don't have respect for because they're like, why is he wasting his time playing video games? We're broke, dude. Shouldn't you be working another job? Shouldn't you be doing something? Right? And on top of that, it's like, were you not leading in the relationship? You know, so many, I'm like, yo, so what did you do, bro? Did you get complacent? Did you stop dating your girl? Did you just like were you guys roommates? You know what I mean? Like I give them all these things to like think about. And then suddenly they start thinking, you know what? Yeah, a lot of that did happen. And it's like, you're not making an excuse for the thing that somebody did. You're not making an excuse for the bad thing that somebody did to you. However, you're taking ownership and power over the situation. Like, yeah, you know, I stopped playing my role. I stopped leading the relationship. I stopped taking her out on dates. I stopped making her feel safe and in the way of, you know, in the way of providing, protecting, showing her that I have potential, that, you know, I'm going to do whatever it takes to give us a comfortable life. And, you know, this is a partnership, but there are still like things that she looks to me for and that I look to her for, and I stop playing my part, you know, and it doesn't excuse the other person's behavior whatsoever, but you have to take accountability. Always, dude, you have to. ACT is about acknowledging or accepting what is out of your control, then committing to an action that aligns with your values. That's it in a nutshell. Surely it tracks with your views. Yeah, that does sound like it tracks with my views. However, I'm so extreme. I just think that everything's within our control. You know, I just think that, you know, it's kind of like I forget what the effect is called, but you make one decision and it's dominoes, right? It's a domino effect. So like, yeah, there's some things out of our control, right? Like if a tsunami hits or whatever, and then your house gets wiped out, whatever. But you know, that's one thing for sure. But when it comes to relationships, dynamic, butterfly effect, exactly that. So when it comes to dynamics in relationships, not just like, you know, boyfriend or girlfriend, but like friendships or business partners, all this stuff, I just don't think anything is out of your control, right? Like you made the decision to like work with certain people, you did that. And they did something crappy to yourself, or they did something crappy to you. Oh, well, move on. You know what I mean? That sucks. I made the decision to go into business with that person. Oh, well, if you don't take accountability like that or responsibility over it, it sucks, because then you really start to play into the victim thing. Man, this person really sucks. They really screwed me over. Them, blah, blah, them. And it puts you in this victim mindset. And it's not to say that what the behaviors that they did weren't bad. They were. I got screwed over thousands of dollars from one of my best friends who was my business partner. It's my fault. FJ, I don't think that there's ever a time where there's not something I can be accountable for. It sucks. It's painful to realize a lot of times you're a part of the problem. The only thing we have control over is ourselves. Absolutely. FJ, sirens are going off outside. I can't control someone's response or choices, but I can control my actions. Accountability takes humility, and that's hard, but the benefits are insane. Yep. Absolutely. I had a time in my life, like 4-ish years ago. Damn, I'm 31. Dang. That means I was like 27 when this happened. 27, 28. And I had a moment where I looked myself in the mirror and I like literally told myself, you suck. You're not willing to do all the things that you say you're willing to do to achieve your dreams, to achieve your goals, and to do all this stuff. Like you're lying. You're faking it. Of course, but you can't control how others act or respond, short of gunpoint. If we're being extreme, you can only respond in your own way. FJ pretty much said my comment first. LOL. Yeah, 100%. You can't control what other people do. You can only control what you can control and how you respond to what other people do. That's the point though, right? That's the whole point. And dude, it sucks. It hurts. It is like wildly uncomfortable sometimes for all this stuff, right? But it just is what it is, man. I mean, that is life, bro. That is life. Just keeping it a buck. And when my friends, like I'm that friend that like friends don't want to have hard conversations with, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. And that's because I love you. I genuinely love my people. And if you don't want to hear it, don't come to me. Don't ask me. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm going to tell you, hey, this is your fault. Figure it out. I'm here for you if you need help. Whatever you need, I'm here. But yeah, dude, I don't play none of that. Not to change topic, but wanted to ask about hormones and your thoughts on if that can impact POTS and weight loss. I'm trying to overcome PCOS and POTS. Yeah. Man. There's not really a sensitive way to say this. I'm just going to speak factually and scientifically, okay? When it comes to weight loss in general, okay, hormones don't affect it. Yikes, that's gonna hurt. Your hormones will not affect weight loss. There's been a lot of metabolic ward studies on the starvation, diet and stuff like that. I don't have to get into the weeds of this, but I don't have the O's or for PCOS. That's true. However, I have dealt with a lot. My ex-girlfriend had PCOS, and people that I know have PCOS. So I've known a bunch of people. There's metabolic ward studies on people and weight loss and hormones, right? So thyroid is one of the hormones mainly that people are like, my thyroid is out of whack. I can't lose weight. when calories are controlled, more times than not, hormones do not have an effect on the ability to lose weight. It is what it is. We can like what happens most times. And when you look at the research, okay, this is something that I am very versed on. I'm very versed on the research in weight loss and stuff like that. Very versed. They did a controlled study, again, about people at war who lost weight, who had metabolic dysfunction in terms of hormones like high thyroid, low thyroid, all these different things, right? And then there's this theory of starvation mode and how if you don't eat too much, you won't lose weight, all this stuff. It's all been debunked and thrown out the window based on different studies that are out there. You guys can go Google this stuff for yourself. When calories are controlled every single time, if you are in a deficit, a large enough deficit or the right deficit, you will lose weight. It generally does not matter the condition. There is some funky stuff with diabetes. It's not that you can't lose weight though. It's that your condition may get worse because of it. That's the same thing that I would say with POTS and PCOS. There's no evidence to suggest that PCOS or hormone dysfunction will stop your weight loss. There's none. You see it happen with bodybuilders all the time. They have dysregulated hormones all the time and they still lose weight because they're following an actual deficit. They are doing their cardio. They're doing their workouts. Now, what the caveat to all this is the research is very clear that people are not good at reporting the amount of calories that they eat. Now, some people will say they will track in MyFitnessPal. I ate 4 ounces of beef or whatever the measurement is, right? But they didn't measure the food. Most people in life have never measured food. I'm not talking about weight, like a measuring cup. I'm talking about weighing your food. Measuring cups are off by big margins for the amount of calories that you're eating, for the serving sizes that you are eating. If you have not ever weighed your food for an extended period of time, you have this much of a clue what a serving size looks like. So if you say 4 ounces, but you've never weighed 4 ounces of meat, you have this much of a clue. Look, there's no space here in between my fingers. That's how much of a clue you have of what 4 ounces of meat looks like. That's the truth. And people are very bad at reporting back what they eat for that reason. The other thing is, they've done research on this too. Mindless eating. I just had this talk yesterday. Thank you for bringing up this question. I just had this talk yesterday with some new clients that I onboarded. The other thing that happens is people don't remember what they eat throughout the day. If you don't carry a notebook with you, specifically notebook, and I have a lot of people do this, specifically a notebook, and write down everything that you put in your face, you will forget that you ate something. It's human nature. Everyone does it. There's tons of research on this. If there's a candy jar or a cookie jar in the office or at home or whatever, a lot of people do this thing called mindless eating where they just grab it, pop it in their mouth, throw the trash away, and they never, ever remember that it ever even happened. If you ask them to recount their day, the day before, that won't even be a part of their memory. They have no idea. And the amount of times that it happens can add up to a lot of calories. Okay, so even if that happens slowly with weight loss, that's normal. I'm doing the deficit in Chronometer. Interesting. No, I haven't ever weighed my food. I've only Googled pictures. So check this out. Look, you've never weighed your food before. So even you doing the deficit in Chronometer, you may just by happenstance be getting into a deficit, but that doesn't mean that you're in the deficit that you want to be in. So if Chronometer is telling you that your maintenance level calories is 2,200 calories and you're supposed to be eating, let's say 1,800 calories for a significant deficit, let's say your goal is to lose 3 pounds a week, something of that nature, and now you're only losing 1 pound a week, but Chronometer is telling you to do 1,800 calories, and that would be what, like the bigger deficit or whatever, but you're still losing weight. You're losing 1 pound a week. You're probably eating 2,000 calories. If your maintenance level is 2,200, you're eating 2,000 calories. That's why you're not seeing as much weight loss. So if you go to the 1,800, i.e. by measuring your food, tracking everything, only drinking water and stuff, not doing any of the, not doing liquid calories, then you would probably lose weight at the rate that you're looking for. It's likely. The other thing is, a lot of people don't understand how active they actually are or are not. We're very bad at estimating that. We're very bad at estimating if we live a somewhat active life, a moderately active, very active, highly active, that type of thing. And so a lot of times when people are trying to calculate their deficit, they are not in the when they're trying to calculate their deficit, they're over calculating their activity level. So for someone like me, I'm highly active. I would say actually I'm very active rather than like highly active. Before I was doing 2-a-days. So I was working out in the morning. I was working out at night. I had to do it. I was doing Metcons. I was doing weightlifting. And then I was getting like 10,000 steps a day. That's highly active, right? Now I work out for an hour, maybe 2 hours a day. And then I'm getting anywhere between 10 to 15K steps. I'm somewhat active. My maintenance level calories I've figured out are anywhere between 3,000 to 3,500 a day, depending on what workload I have put on my body that day. And I'll eat more accordingly, right? That's something that I've developed over the years. I still weigh my beef every single day. And for the most part, I weigh my rice, but I don't weigh sweet potato. I don't weigh fruit. I don't do any of that because I have a real idea. I've done it for years. I've weighed food for the better part of 10 years. I know what it looks like. Most people have not done that. Most people don't do that. So weight loss, the research is freaking super clear, like really clear. Okay, so even if it happens slowly with weight loss, it's normal. I'm doing it. Yep. Do you think putting food into a tracker at the beginning of the day is easier? I've tried that and it helps, but it can get stressful. No, I don't. I've done a lot of strategies with people and I see it being the most effective, in my opinion, is doing it as you are eating. So like, because I'm not going to get into the weeds of like if it fits your macros, flexible dieting, stuff like that. But I think that it's more useful to, as you eat something, track it then, especially because the mindless eating thing. So if you like go by the candy jar and you eat that thing, boom. All right, now I have to write something down rather than like I've written all my food down. I'm going past the candy jar. I'm going to pop it in and then you forget about it. I think it's better to get in the habit of tracking everything as you go. Journaling food is way easier now with apps. Calorie King is a pretty good reference. As for the journaling part, I don't know. Take your pick. Food scales are also thankfully inexpensive. Truth. Facts. My favorite apps are the ones with barcode scanners, but if you're eating whole foods, you won't need that. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, and overcoming PCOS is something that I'm not an expert in. I don't know, but I had a girlfriend for a very long time. She's the mother of my child. She had PCOS and we had taken her through so many diets, like throughout the years, like gaining weight and then shredding down for summer and stuff like that. And I've done that with other people with PCOS. It really doesn't seem to have an effect on it. Everything else that I have talked about here is the most is the thing that affects it the most, is not knowing what an actual calorie looks like, not knowing what a serving size actually looks like, not realizing that you're mindlessly eating something as you're walking throughout the day, not realizing that the things that you're drinking actually have calories in it, stuff like that. I did keto, I did Noom, and it works and all comes back. Yeah, so it's not a problem. I think keto is a really good diet for specific reasons. The issue with keto is that what happens with most people is, so a lot of the foods that we eat on a day-to-day basis are highly processed or very palatable foods, right? So like things that taste good, that you really enjoy, stuff like that. Once you get off keto, what happens is people tend to overindulge, right? So it's not like a lifestyle, unless you are somebody, like there are people that have lifestyle sustaining keto diets. But most people probably don't fall into that category, unfortunately, because I think it is a really good diet. Yeah, most people don't fall into that category of being able to stick to keto forever. And the thing is too, with keto, why you lose weight so effectively on it and why it happens so quickly is because you are eliminating whole food groups, right? Like you are eliminating carbohydrates, you're eliminating a bunch of processed food, you're eliminating certain drinks or whatever, because you have to stay in ketosis. So you create a big deficit very quickly, and it's a very thermogenic diet because there's a lot of protein in it. So you suddenly start to hold on to muscle tissue, lean body tissue, and you're able to effectively burn calories more, right? Burn more calories more effectively. So, but then when you come off of keto, you're not in that insane deficit anymore. So you put on the weight pretty quickly because you've suddenly added 1,000 calories to your diet every single day. And you're like, what the heck? I gained 10 pounds in 2 weeks. You're like, yeah, there's some water associated with that because you have carbohydrates in your diet again. And then 3,500 calories equals a pound. So you've had 1,000 every single day. So you've essentially done 2 pounds a week by having 7,000 calories, added to your diet each week. So you've added 2 pounds or 4 pounds of fat, and then the rest is from water, Yeah. This is the stuff that I am super versed in. I've been dealing with this for years. I've taken bodybuilders through prep diets. I've done them myself. I help people make weight for sports, all this stuff. I've noticed with pots, some days I'm just not hungry, and so dieting just doesn't work the same way. Yep, 10 pounds came back fast. Trying to find this new balance that works for both. Yeah, so what I would say is that most times people with POTS have some sort of gut dysfunction. And so they aren't really like digestion's off in the morning. Their stomach is bloated, things of that nature. So what I try to tell people to do is just get in the habit of just eating like as if you're a machine, right? Like that when they have this issue specifically, just get in the habit of eating as a habit, like I have to eat. And then eat like smaller breakfast, eat smaller meals throughout the day. Kind of like what we said to Sugimoto earlier. Eat smaller meals throughout the day that are a little bit more calorie dense, and you'll get your way back there. Interestingly enough, right, I think that hunger is something that you can train your body to be. But it's like anything, right? You're giving it a stimulus by putting food in it. Like right now I'm really hungry. And I know that like the past few days, I've been doing my best to get more calories in. And so right now is about the time that I would have one of these peanut butter bars, like these things. I'm really hungry. When I'm not hungry, but I know I need food, I take electrolytes. And after 15 minutes, at least a little bit of appetite comes back. That's good. I've never heard that. That's cool. Try that out, FJ. Try that out. Yeah. So, man, this live has been all over the place, huh? It's been a lot of topics. A lot of things to talk about. Been talking about a lot of stuff. Any specific way to eat for POTS, that's highly individual to the person. So FJ, I think that you're in the app. There's a document in there on tracking your food and why it's important and what to do from there. What I would say is that the way to eat for POTS is the way that doesn't affect you individually. So yeah, so if you notice that, like, if you track your food for 7 days and you realize that you're having symptoms after certain foods, eliminate those foods for an extended period of time and then slowly try to bring them back in. Sugimoto, I didn't see this, I'm sorry. Is it too extreme to cut out fruit? There's so many fruits and veggies that are rich in carbs, but they're more complex. Too extreme to cut out fruit. There are so many fruits and veggies that are rich in carbs, but they're more complex. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by the second part? I think, yeah, cutting out fruits would be pretty extreme. I think fruit is some of the most nutrient-dense food that you can eat aside from red meat. I take my fruit in smaller portions and add protein to make sure the sugar spike is not too big and to keep the blood sugar stable. After, only fruit gives me a spike and a crash. Really? What fruit? Do you know? Have you paid attention to what fruit? Was trying to find my documents. Thanks for all the help today. Just trying to absorb everything. FJ, I'm going to check real quick if I have put you into the documents first off. So I'm pretty sure that I have. No. My bad. There you go. Now they should be available to you. What I love doing keto a few years ago was that I stopped craving for foods with sugar. I just stopped wanting to eat those foods. Nowadays, I don't do keto anymore. Yeah. Your gut diversity changes. The bacteria in your gut changes, and you make adaptations to not really want sugar anymore. Really interesting, Jazan. I appreciate that tidbit. Makes sense. My sister is type 1 diabetic and would often do the same thing. All fruit. I'm very prone to reactive hyperglycemia. Hypoglycemia? I'm very strict on eating every 2 hours and having enough complex carbs and complete meals. Hypoglycemia would be low blood sugar, though. Yeah. Low blood sugar. So wouldn't you want fruit in that instance? Jazan, have you worn a CGM before? That would be something that if you're really having issues with hypoglycemia, that I would actually suggest. A CGM is just a continuous glucose monitor, and that will tell you if you're actually having these like spikes in blood sugar after food, during exercise, all these different things. A lot of people are using them now to like really dial in their nutrition for working out, but they've been used by diabetics for years, but they are now out on the market. Maybe not in the Netherlands, but they're now on the out in the consumer market for just about anybody. You can get them really cheap at some drugstores too, like Walgreens and stuff and by us. I have no issues with the way my diet is now, so it would be interesting but unnecessary. Yeah, could be. I think no matter what the diet you are on, the most important thing is to be able to incorporate foods that you love in that, you know, everyday foods at some point back in your life. I think that that's like the most important thing, right? Like fruit for me is just such a non-negotiable. I think that everyone needs to eat fruit every day, like at least some portion of it, right? Especially with how lacking our food is in general with nutrition, like vitamins, minerals, and all that stuff. I think that you need to eat a lot of fruit. And some of like the really micronutrient things that come out of vegetables you can't get from fruit, but I'm not like a huge fan of vegetables for everyone in general. I think that vegetables are probably a really good thing for a lot of people, but a lot of people, especially with POTS, react poorly to certain veggies. So let's see what this comment says. Can I ask about walking? Yeah, you can ask about anything. On the exercise topic, is it okay to use compression socks, tights during exercise? I'm currently using compression socks as an aid to get more blood in the upper part of my body. Is it okay to use compression socks, tights during exercise? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I don't see why not. I have like a few clients that do that. Oh, my son is calling me. We'll have to call you back, Papa. $2,000 step walks in the morning would get me tired for half a day. That's good. But now it's 2 days of fatigue, so I'm switching to 250 steps every hour. How should the fatigue be? Or how would I know if it's too much? Yeah, I think, and I don't mean to be, I guess, picky, but I think in the world of like POTS and chronic illness, I think that the word fatigue is way overblown, right? When people are like, what's the difference? There's a difference between being fatigued and being tired. And so what I would say is like somebody who's fatigued is somebody who's like just got done with surgery and literally can't move, like can't do anything. I think if you always have the ability to at least move, you're probably not in a state of extreme fatigue, and that you should kind of push the boundary a little bit, push the barrier, right? And just see. Like I always say when people have a flare up with like my clients that I train one-on-one, if they have a bad flare up, the first thing that I tell them to do is get up and go get moving. Like go do something, get on a recumbent bike, get some movement in, because that's going to help with the blood flow to the extremities and all this stuff. Right. So I think that, but now it's 2 days of fatigue, so switching to 250 steps every hour. How should the fatigue be, or how would I know if it's too much? I think if it's too much, you're gonna have a bunch of symptoms. Fatigue, I don't really consider fatigue a symptom, because as with any exercise program protocol, you're gonna have a level of systemic fatigue. Well, actually with walking, you really shouldn't. So that's why I'm kind of like really particular about what words we're using, right? Fatigue like would mean like I did a set of 10 squats at 315 or something like that, and my legs, dude, I cannot move them. Like I cannot. Fatigue is like you're sore, you can't get the things to fire properly, like you're tripping over your feet. That's fatigue. That's really what fatigue means, right? And so I think that training your body to sustain a level of energy, i.e., when you have this fatigue or this tiredness the next couple of days, like, dude, get moving, get moving, get moving. I promise you, doing some sort of activity is going to help. It's not going to make it worse. And that could be going on the recumbent bike and just chilling for 20, 30 minutes, but moving, right? And so what you should look out for if you're really starting to do, I have ME/CFS though, and that fatigue needs its own word. Hold on. Let me address these other comments first. Is it weird that compression socks seem to help sometimes, but not all the time? No, because you're not always going to have blood pooling, and you're not always going to have the symptoms associated with why you would need compression socks for. If I'm in a really bad flare up, they help, but otherwise when I wear them, I just get super overheated and the sweat is unreal. Yeah. I don't mean to laugh, but I feel that. I sweat like a pig. Betty, what are the signs one should pay attention when exercising to know when to slow down or continue besides dizziness or extreme high heartbeat? I don't even think extremely high heartbeat is something to pay attention to. I also don't think that most people get into the extreme area of heart rate. I've used this example before. CrossFit competitors at the highest level sustain 200 plus for minutes for a lot of time. So I think most people are not getting extremely high heart rates. 180 is a regular heart rate for me during an exercise, and it's going to be for you if you're just starting to exercise. It's going to be normal for you when you are exercising, no matter what the exercise is. That's why you exercise, to make the adaptation, so that eventually your body's like, okay, I need to lower the heart rate, I need to regulate blood pressure, and over time the heart rate will go down, the blood pressure will normalize. I had no idea movement was key with the fatigue. I kept napping because I kept falling asleep, and I would feel just as bad as when I went to sleep. I'll try that. So check this out. If you keep napping every time you feel tired, your body's going to feel tired. I have ME/CFS though, and that fatigue needs its own word. I do move, but it's getting worse. Jazan. So I have worked with other people with CFS and ME. I don't think it needs a different word. I think we've really, we can't play with words like that. You know what I mean? Because we need something to base it off of. There has to be a standard. If there's no standard to go off of, you can't make any sort of recommendations. Doctors would never be able to give you recommendations if there's nothing to work off of, right? So like playing with language is, if you play with language, we can't do anything about it, because then the goalpost is ever shifting, right? And so how can you make recommendations based off of that? What I'll tell you though is that I've worked with other people with CFS and ME before, and it doesn't seem to be any different than what I'm suggesting. What I think the issue becomes is that people, when they get tired, and they get like sleepy tired even, right? And that's what some people consider the fatigue. Like, I'm just so tired all the time, I feel like I can't move or whatever. They just don't get up and move. Like what you're describing is like, I do move, but it's getting worse. It's getting worse. What does it's getting worse mean? You know what I mean? And that's where we can really get into the weeds of it, and like whether or not you should. My recommendation is always that your body makes adaptations. You have to do the thing though for your body to make adaptations. If you don't do the thing, it can't adapt, right? If you don't try to move while you're having a flare up, if you don't try to move while you're feeling extreme fatigue, and if you don't do that consistently over time, it won't make that adaptation. So there's not even a recommendation that can be given, because if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. It won't work. So my thought is always that your body makes adaptations, good and bad. So if you were once able to deal with a lot of movement and you're not anymore, you need to try to build yourself back up to that movement. Now, if you keep having flare-ups and you do nothing about it, and you sit around, not that you're not doing anything about it, but if you sit around and you don't move or whatever, then that's how your body's going to adapt to flare-ups. It's going to go the opposite way. So I guess really the thing that I would say is that you need to make a choice. Like, are you going to go sit on a bike for 30 minutes, a recumbent bike, obviously, because if you're feeling fatigue, you could have other symptoms associated with it. You could be dizzy. You could have, pre-syncope, stuff like that. Are you going to go sit on a bike and test your luck, or are you not? Or are you just going to, you know what I mean? And so the thing that I always say is with flare-ups or with like this fatigue stuff, right? When people are like, I don't know, I feel like it's getting worse. I would say this. I would say the things you should look for is pre-syncope. Like, is it getting worse? Like seriously getting worse? Am I feeling like pain all the time? Are these really bad symptoms that I have coming back more frequently and more hardcore? My doc said that with SVT, that high heart rate just needs reconditioning. I don't know specifically with SVT, probably, if your doctor's saying that. So overall high heart rate will regulate, like you said. Yeah, in my experience, high heart rate is an effect of deconditioning. And dude, this isn't like, again, this is not something that is exclusive to POTS. And that's what's so interesting about this, is that not a lot of these things are not just exclusive to POTS. And so like, yeah, high heart rate regulates over time. If somebody's deconditioned in general, they used to be an athlete and they've deconditioned from being an athlete, and their heart rate during workouts will get higher, and it will be higher in general. Now, when you start working out and you get what's it called? Now, when you start working out and you get reconditioned, your heart rate regulates. It goes back down during workouts, and your resting heart rate gets lower too. So overall high heart, yep. The fatigue doesn't go away anymore. It would stop after lunch, then it would go away in the evening, and now it doesn't go away unless I take a rest day. My POTS is not reacting. It's PM I'm afraid of. Rolling PM lowers your baseline, and that happened to me 2 years ago, so I'm trying to be careful. Jazan, for what it's worth, cool downs are an important part anyway. Have you tried any? Personally, I found that gentle stretching and movement helps my heart rate come down, back down. Yeah, Sugimoto, that's actually really good advice. I think that a lot of people skimp their cool downs and stuff. Jazan, I guess we have to be more specific because what you're describing to me doesn't seem like what I would describe fatigue as. The fatigue doesn't go away anymore. It would stop after lunch, then it would go away in the evening, and now it doesn't go away unless. So fatigue, again, like I said, generally, like when you look at like research in exercise science, which is probably what you should be going by when it comes to getting reconditioned and getting your life back in this way, fatigue is normally classified by a consistent baseline feeling. That's what the research on fatigue is when it comes to exercise and stuff like that. And that's why I don't think playing with the language does anything productive. So what does that mean? Is there a symptom or is there a feeling that's associated with it? Because fatigue now, it seems like it's very broad, right? At least the way you're using it, it seems to be very broad. It went away, it would come back, but during periods of time during the day. So to me, I don't really know what you're saying. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just really want to understand what you're saying in order to like help you out. You feel tired then. Okay. So if you feel tired, right, move. Like move. Genuinely move. Start moving. But like drug tired. Yeah. Okay. That's a great way to explain it. And I've had other people explain it that same way. Like almost like they're hungover tired, right? Move. Get moving. More fluid, maybe more electrolytes. It really depends on your situation. I don't know what your electrolyte balance looks like or what your hydration status looks like or anything like that. But what I've had people do when they feel like that is, I think I touched on this in a prior live, but I'll have people microdose electrolytes throughout the day when they're feeling like that. And it seems to get them into a better spot. I've also been like, hey, get up and move. Start moving. Move a few times during that day. That's how you're going to get your energy back. That's how you're not going to feel tired. That type of stuff, right? So this is why I think it's so important. Like language is so important. I make that very clear when I like have new onboarding clients now, especially now, because I need to know. I need to know what's the language and what does it mean to you. Because if we're using the same words but we're operating from different places, there's no way I can help. There's no way. And fatigue is one of those words that I think is like really important to dial it down. Because fatigue is there's like systemic fatigue, right? I will try that. So you are saying keep doing the same amount of steps because I don't get pot symptoms and no PEM yet. Yeah, I would. I would for sure. I think that, yeah, Jazan, it almost seems like, you know, for however long you've been like interacting in the lives and stuff, it almost seems like you've never really gotten to a place where you've had like even somewhat of remission based on like the things that you have described. So, and that's not a bad thing or whatever. This is me just like being honest with you and like trying to really help you out here. It seems like you haven't really gotten to a place where there's been even close to remission. It seems like that there hasn't been much progression throughout in terms of how you've approached exercise and like if there's been consistent progression, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So what I would say is that maybe you do have to take a step back and analyze because 2,000 steps in a go, right? Like 2,000 steps at one time shouldn't really be that much to handle, especially if you've been exercising for a while and you've been like kind of trying to make progress throughout time. 2,000 steps shouldn't really be that difficult in the amount of time that I think we've talked about you having this. So what I would do is I would really take a step back. I would analyze what your data says and keep track of data and look at it holistically and objectively. Like, what have I done to get to this point that I'm at? And then reassess everything, like kind of build together a new plan, like a better plan. Right. So, yeah, that's kind of what I would do in your case. I hope that made sense. I struggle with POTS and exercise. I struggle with POTS and exercise because I have very poor sleep. That's an issue too. I never have the energy. Yeah, dude, what I would say is get your sleep in check. That's the easiest thing that I can say. The other thing that I can say is that if you need help and you're in the States, the banner on right here, use that sleep supplement. It's a godsend for a lot of people. It has nutrients in it to help support your nervous system to get into a rest and recovery state. And oh, by the way, Dr. Justine Lucchini is coming on June 25th, 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's when we're going to talk about sleep. So you came on the right live for me to announce that. We're going to talk about sleep and take a deep dive. I've slowly gone from almost bedbound to on the couch and also running the household in 2 years, but now I want to try exercising. Great. That's amazing. Yeah. So what I would still say though, is that you should still take an objective view at all the data, where you've come from, where you are, where you want to go, and say, hey, am I getting too many steps in comparison to like what I was doing? Like you need to really take a look at that if you're really getting this from walking. And you need to take an objective look at it and be like, hey, maybe for like a week or two, I have to only walk 1,000 steps. And then the next week I have to go 1,500 steps or 1,250. The next week, 1,500 or 2,000, something like that, like a slow progression. Make sure that it's working. When you get to about 5K steps is generally where I'm like, okay, you can probably get in the gym and do some sort of formal exercise. I'm unfortunately not in the US. What's something made of? Maybe I can get a replacement. It's got magnesium biglycinate in it, GABA, L-theanine, a little bit of sodium. And I think that's it. Let me look. What's in it? Yeah, it's got magnesium biglycinate, a little bit of sodium, hydrolyzed collagen, 10,000 milligrams, GABA, and L-theanine. Hydrolyzed collagen in 10,000 milligrams, which breaks down to about 3.5 grams of glycine, which is really, 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 really good for sleep. Helps bring down the body temperature at night. Helps you get into a more restful state. Sugimoto just got a Fitbit used so that it can give you data. The data can help with the consistency. Do you have any recommendations for smartwatches? Yeah, I would say the best, to be honest with you, Fitbit is great for collecting that data. It also tracks heart rate. I'm not a fan of tracking heart rate, but steps for sure. Otherwise, I'm a huge fan of the Apple Watch Ultra. I love it because there's like GPS on it and stuff. Stuff that I would use because of hiking and, mountain biking when I get back to that. Have the journeys of your clients with PM differed in any way to only having POTS? No. That's why I am so keen on, like, dude, we need to address the cause, not the illness. So many people get hung up on all of these acronyms, these letters, these names of things. And I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, depression, blah, blah, blah. Dude, there's probably, or PM, MS, well, not MS, CFS, IBS. It's like, no, just relax. Just relax. This all stems from dysregulation of some system in your body. Let's get things normalized. You know, how you treat it may differ in the sense that like some people may choose to use exercise and nutrition and stuff to treat it, holistic practices, and some people may use pharmaceuticals, or some people may use a mixture of both. But let's treat it all like it's the same, right? That's the main driver, the main point that I try to make is like, regardless of what you have, let's clean up your diet. Regardless of what you have, let's try to fix whatever gut dysbiosis you're having. You know, if that's an issue that like you have, you know, explosive diarrhea, or you can't like use the bathroom at all. Regardless of what you have, if you have exercise intolerance, let's fix that. Let's build it back up. You know, regardless of what you have, your sleep and your hydration should probably be on point, because that's only going to help. Could you talk more about exercise intolerance? I used to go straight to painful. 2 years ago. Yes, let's do that in a different live. I have to hop off now because it's been 2 hours and I have to go back to business in a little bit. So I got to do some things before I go. So I will make that a different live. But thank you for the idea. Maybe we'll do that one tomorrow. I think we should do that one tomorrow. So you guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me for about 2 hours today. If you haven't already, click that link in the description. Join the POTS community and training program. You get 2 free weeks, and then it's $50 a month after that. It's a bunch of people that are just trying to be positive about POTS and symptoms and all that and getting better. Yeah, guys, let's get after it. Will it be at this time? It will be, yeah, probably at like 1:30 is when it'll start again. Yeah, from now on, this is kind of going to be the time frame that these are happening in, because I got to go run an in-person business. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Goodbye.